Hey, how's it going? So let's talk about a few steps you can take to get through your classes as quickly as possible at WGU. These are steps I use myself to get through my classes. I did 30 credit hours in my first semester. You can see all of that right here, and that's even with me having a lot of procrastination and really slowing down towards the later half of my term. You have 6 months to get through all of your classes there. Just keep in mind, I am in the business program, so some of these concepts, especially in these fundamentals classes, I'm already pretty comfortable with. They make sense to me. They come to me pretty fast, so I'm able to get through classes a little faster. Depending on your program, you may have to go slower or faster through some of those classes. First thing I always do, once I find my class, I get this code right here, Organizational Behavior C715. Go straight to Reddit. I'm going to pop that into Reddit right there, and you're going to get a bunch of posts from people that have previously taken their class telling you about their experience with it. Multiple people will have how fast it took them to get through the class. They'll probably be kind of similar. Either it'll seem you get fast or it may take a little longer. So this person did it in 2 days. Go through here. They'll tell you about their experience with it, all their tips and tricks. They'll show you pre-assessment, how they did, and then how they did on their actual OA. And then also, if you scroll all the way down here to the comments, you're going to find other people also taking class or haven't taken yet or currently taking it. I tell you their experience with it as well. And that'll give you a lot of insight into the class before you even open up the text. So secondly, after going through Reddit, getting a really good feeling of the class, I go straight into that class. I go over the course tips right here. You'll have to find out where the cohorts are. Mine are right here. Cohorts are just videos about the class, compilation of the most important information you need to know for the test. These are made by your course instructors. Your course instructors are giving you everything you need to pass that class, everything they deem most important. It's not a lot of games at WGU. There's no tricks to it. They're not trying to give you the wrong information. They're giving exactly what you need to know to pass that test, because they know generally what is on it. So I would take each of these cohort videos they made, all of them you can find, watch all of them. I like to watch them on faster speed, sometimes 1.5 times or even 2 times if I can understand the instructor and I somewhat already understand the material. I'll watch them on double speed. Once I have watched them all, if I'm kind of understanding, got a good feel for the content, I'll go straight into the class and go ahead and take my practice assessment. And then once you do that practice assessment, you'll have that breakdown. You'll see, for like example, group development, that section I didn't do as well in. So then I can dive back into the book and just only focus on this section of the content. You click on it, it breaks it down, takes you right to where you need to study. But generally, if you pass this practice assessment, do pretty well, I like to go straight into, after brushing up on my weak spot, straight into objective assessment and seeing if I can pass the actual class. Remember, WGU is competency based. If you're competent in the class and you can pass it, it means you know the information. There's no need for you to stay in the class longer or to overstudy. We want to avoid that. Once you know it, just go ahead and take that test and move on to our next class. Other than that, if it is a more difficult class and you did struggle on the practice assessment, go back, then actually dive into the textbook, dive into the tech, brush up on the areas you need to, even search up, just like I showed you on Reddit. Take that code, search up Quizlets for the class. You can use all these helpful study materials that are out there for you. You can even look for Facebook groups. Biggest things I would give as advice that I really messed up on. I'm really bad about procrastinating. Don't procrastinate. You do this same process, you could do way faster than me. And then actually set blocks, periods of time that you're actually going to sit down, work on your schoolwork. Some of these classes you can get done in a day if you really dedicate yourself. Especially the easier ones with the concepts you already gravitate towards. I will say, last 2 classes of my semester had a little Excel in them. and they took me a little longer. I actually had to dive into the text and really study. Some classes you're gonna have to do that, but a lot of them, especially if you're familiar with the content, you can go through faster, and then you'll have more time to spend on those harder classes. The last thing I want to talk about is classes with a performance assessment. So classes that have like a paper you have to write or something like that. You want to make sure you make this process as easy as possible and you can get through these papers as fast as possible, just like you do going into taking your test. But when you're going into any of these classes that require you to do a paper instead of a test, you want to go to whatever task it is, read the introduction, read all this right here, and then you want to go by this rubric. You want to make sure, more important than anything, your essay, your paper has whatever it says right here. You want to make sure it's competent. You provide logical and convincing explanation. Make sure you do that. In-text citations, make sure you do that if you have any. Lastly, attention to detail, focused on the main ideas, terminology, it's just correct grammar. Sometimes there'll be a lot more things on this rubric, sometimes just a couple like this. If you nail each of those things on the rubric, you're gonna pass. There's no BS. They're not gonna just fail you for no reason. You're gonna pass the paper if you do exactly what they want to hear. If you ignore this, try to do your own thing, they might kick it back to you. And just start the paper. Don't procrastinate. Go through, get all these competent when you're writing it out, and then send it to them. If it's not good enough, if you miss one area, they'll kick it back to you. Just make that little correction, send it back. Boom, you're done with that class. Move on to the next. Keep it rolling. That's my best advice if you want to accelerate at this school. And that's pretty much everything I have. Don't procrastinate. Set aside time for your classes. I already have 30 credits done this semester. I only have 74 to go to my 4-year degree. So really, if going into these next 2 semesters, if I apply myself just a little bit more than I did this time, which I still had a lot of time that I was doing other stuff, procrastinating, I can easily finish this in a year. If you guys have any questions about anything from this video, make sure to leave a comment, like the video if you found it helpful, and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Thank you guys. Have a good one and good luck.